going on, guys? Kevin Parkinson, the NARC MP, back again with another episode of Father's Win. Today is a little different. Today on Father's Win, we're going to go over a heartbreaking, frustrating, really excruciating hearing. And the reason why we're going to do this is because it is so important that we as fathers understand why we are so many times tricked out of a fair hearing. And I use the word tricked with the cautionary understanding that maybe somebody in family court watches this and they don't like it, and they tell my judge, hey, this guy doesn't like judges, and that harms me moving forward. But as much as prayerfully that's not the case, it's worth the risk, because there are a lot of you men who are watching this content, and God bless all of you, to get through family court better. And if it takes me putting it on the line to do that, by golly George, we're going to do it. So buckle up. We're going to watch this hearing. And as we go along, yes, it is one of those episodes to all of you who are like, I don't want to hear you, Kevin. Okay, this is an episode for guys in family court or who are about to go through family court, who have the time or give a darn enough to say, let me figure out how another dad failed, if you will. And it's not the dad's fault. I don't even think it's his lawyer's fault. I'm not going to say whose fault it is, but you know what I'm getting at. Here we go.
And it is our considered opinion that this ex parte order was based, we believe, on the defendants affirmatively misleading the court, posing and posturing as if there had been any a scintilla of evidence that there was any inappropriate activity. My client, his wife, his stepchildren, or himself. No probable cause was found to move forward in any of these. The court has those two CPS reports, but I need to point out for the court and the mid-December report and disposition and dismissal in relation to the latest round of allegations.
Okay, let me stop right there, because I've dealt with this. I go through this on the daily. I know exactly what the lawyer and the dad are getting at. To break it down into the simplest terminology possible, what is happening is mom is making allegations against dad and his new family, trying to paint a picture that is unsafe for a child to be with dad. Therefore, mom should be I haven't even heard it yet, but I bet mom is arguing that she should be the primary parent. She should be in charge of all decision making. She should be in charge of deciding where the kid goes to school, who the kid's doctor is. This is a play that women are using around the country all the time, because it's happening to me right now. My ex-wife accused me of kidnapping our daughter. The word is abscond. That's the professional word of kidnapping, to flee without anyone knowing. That's like the legal definition, abscond. And she said that I absconded back in December with our child when I took our kid to Jamaica. And I have nothing but emails, sending pictures, letting her know where we are, letting her know when we're coming back, when the flight is landing. And she still lied to the court, made a police report, made a report to CPS, and it goes on and on. So this is a play that women are using against fathers to say, hey, I'm not getting what I want, so let me just make up some bogus stuff. Not saying there's not a possibility that the child is obviously is possibly in danger. But when the lawyer is trying to say, hey, there was an investigation done and none of this was founded to be true, that's when I have an issue with it. And I wish judges would take more of that into consideration. But let's keep going.
Contains some information that we believe should be quite concerning to the court. I'll refer the court to page 15, down under the date 11/29/2004 at 8:41 a.m. And it says, the text was received from Tyler Glass, that again is the defendant's law enforcement officer husband, asking for the status of the case and if CPS had spoken with Kyle Lanish, because Tony is terrified and does not feel safe to go to his house, as she is scheduled to go there that day. I would next then, now, in the intervening time, I
Okay, so let me stop it right there. The lawyer's doing a good job right now of painting the picture for the court, for the judge, and saying, hey, mom's new boyfriend is actually a police officer. And as a police officer, mom's boyfriend getting information from other bureaus, we don't know if that's okay. If it's not, he still has his rights as a citizen, but we just want you to know maybe he might have a little more push or pull because as a police officer, we don't know if he asked for this information as a police officer or as a citizen. And again, I'm not a lawyer. I, this case is taking place in the state I don't live in. I am not here to tell you what the laws are. I'm just letting you know that the lawyer's doing a good job of showing that maybe something that maybe was done and maybe a sleight of hand took place. So let's keep watching and see what else.
motion for reconsideration, which I believe the court probably has in front of it, that was filed on December 3rd. There is an Our Family Wizard.
Just to let you guys know, Our Family Wizard is this terrible app that charges you money because it records everything from text messages to phone calls. I know it's vital for some situations where there is a lot of opposition amongst the parents and their families, but I was asked to start using Family Wizard to literally pay to talk to my daughter so it could be policed. I said, absolutely not. Now, I know it's good for some situations. Personally, for most situations, I don't think it's necessary. I think it's just a cash grab, but I'm not going to say that.
Email. Well, call them emails, call them communications, call them what you will. There is an assertion by the mother, 11:29 at 3:18 p.m. The second line of that communication, we were informed by CPS that it would be recommended to you, Tony, stay with us. And as the court can further see, if you advance to page 19 and read the substantive reportage under December 5, 2024, text received from Mackenzie Colley stating that CPS have told her and her husband that CPS would suggest Mr. Leinish, they left out the preposition to Mr. Leinish that Tony should stay with them until the investigation is over. But Mr. Leinish's attorney stated that CPS have never said anything like that. Ms. Colley asked if CPS had not told Kyle that. Then there is more texting, and you can see that the supervisor stated CPS cannot get involved in court matters or visitation, so CPS will not be involved in any court matters. Ms. College, that's their misspelling, not mine. Ms. College texted back saying that CPS had told her and her husband that CPS would suggest Mr. Leinish to let Tony stay with her until the investigation ends, and asked what the safety plan is. And again, text sent back to Ms. Colley advising that CPS cannot get involved in court and visitation matters, and asked her to speak with friend of the court regarding issues, which I know, as we all know, is a bit of a misnomer. But what you have here, Your Honor, is more actions by the defendant and her husband to create a narrative. It's like they're trying to create that they were told that the recommendation from CPS is, wow, we think these charges or these allegations are so serious that this child should be held. That was all their idea. And the fact that we get a CPS report that where they're trying as hard as they can apparently, to run the false narrative that a CPS worker supported their scheme. I find repugnant. And again, she even tried to run that on Mr. Leinish.
Okay, let me stop it right there. Again, Dad's lawyer's doing a masterful job of debunking, breaking down the game plan of mom and said boyfriend. He We don't know these people personally. We can't make a judgment call against their character. We are just reviewing the video. From what we are seeing in the video, mom and said boyfriend, who happens to be a police officer, have drummed up a story in which it looks like CPS encouraged them to keep child away from Mr. Leinish, the dad. I don't think that there's any other way for dad and his lawyer to explain that to the judge. Based on these things alone, this is a breaking of the parental agreement outside of what a judge or the court mandated. Therefore, the judge should rule in the favor of the father and say, okay, it looks like parental alienation is happening here. And you have impeded on the father's rights to be with the child on said days based on this drummed up CPS story where you're alleging that CPS told you it was in the best interest while an investigation was happening, and CPS investigations take forever, to keep the kid. And now they are using that in court. So the only thing that could possibly make this any better is for the judge to hear this, realize what is going on, see that mom doesn't have any evidence to refute this. There was no evidence turned in, and then make a ruling. We're going to fast forward in a little bit, and let's see what the judge has to say about all this.
And they may learn that that's not appropriate and backtrack. I've seen it in many cases. That's what happened here. The CPS worker indicated to my client before speaking with Mr. Leinish that we're going to recommend that the child stay with you. Clearly that was not communicated to him. And now it's being portrayed that my client is some sort of monster trying to rip the plaintiff away from the minor child. She wants a healthy, safe environment for parenting time to occur, which the child has explained to the police and CPS that she feels like things have escalated since she disclosed the uncomfortable touching from the first CPS investigation. The case was unsubstantiated. We acknowledge that. The risk level has increased, probably because this has occurred just a month after. But we agree that counseling needs to get set up here to give the minor child a resource to address her concerns and rebuild her relationship with her father, because there's something going on. We don't know what it is, but there's something going on and the minor child is suffering. I would also note.
Okay. I gotta stop it right there. This is mom's attorney now saying, well, we have information from CPS. So, okay, this refutes what I was saying, that mom hasn't submitted any evidence. This is the evidence that they're saying. They had CPS interview the child. The child complained of inappropriate touching by dad or by someone while in dad's care. That was investigated, and they admit there were no findings. Okay, great. So throw it out. But mom and her lawyer are building upon that now and saying, by the way, also, we had the police talk to our child, which I think is out of order, because one of the parents' new partners is involved in law enforcement, and there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But how do we know that they didn't have some type of leg up in knowing somebody or getting some type of idea or understanding pushed across the table that this is what needs to happen, or just by being seen as more of the favorable person because somebody involved is involved in law enforcement? I don't think that's being taken into account. But there is no findings, no evidence of the child being harmed. Then they're going on to say the police and CPS think that the child should be put into some kind of therapy, counseling. Of course they would say that. Of course they would say that. So now, if I'm the judge, I'm going to think to myself, okay, there was an investigation, nothing was found. The mom is dealing with a partner who is in law enforcement. Got to kind of give that some credence, but I don't know. Dad is just trying to get his time back because he doesn't want parental alienation to continue. That's all we're looking from the judge to see. Mom is really doing a good job of painting a picture with a lot of hearsay. He say, she say. So let's see what the judge comes up with.
Request phone contact, none of that has occurred. I would also note that after we filed the ex parte is when these alleged assault claims came to light. Contact to my client's husband's employer, trying to get him fired, as well as filing a PPO against my client's father, which I believe he has filed an objection to. At the end of the day, the person that we need to be most concerned about is Tony. And I think getting her into counseling to get to the root of this problem is the first step. And we would just ask the court to consider that in making its recommendation. As a side note, I would also note that my client's sister is in from out of the state, and it is technically her weekend. So we would request, if the court is going to order unsupervised parenting time and any sort of makeup time, that it would occur after this weekend. So one, the child can be prepared for parenting time to restart, and two, so she doesn't miss out on the visit from a relative that is from out of state.
All right, thank you.
Did you guys catch that? Mom wants unsupervised parenting time, which means mom currently has supervised parenting time. Whatever that means, that could mean the supervised parenting time means that it has to take place within a certain mile radius of their city, or it might mean that there has to be a mandated reporter, somebody who can report the supervision. That could be anything from a police officer to a CPS worker to a counselor of some sorts. We don't know. We didn't get more information on that. But that is interesting. Why is mom under supervised visits? What happened in the past? I wish the lawyer brought more of that up. But let's tune back in for the ruling. Here we go.
I do need to respond, Your Honor.
Actually, Mr. Haslam, I'm not. You guys have taken up quite a bit of time at this point. So, and I've read everything, and I this could go on for a long time, and I'm not going to do that.
Well, that's something that grinds my gears when it comes on to family court. It sometimes feels like the lawyer says, not the lawyer, the judge says that just when they don't want to hear from you anymore. I'm not a judge. I have nothing but respect for judges. I know they deal with a lot of stuff day to day. But honestly, it doesn't seem like this lawyer is disrespectful. It doesn't seem like this lawyer is saying anything out of turn, and this lawyer isn't bringing up any information that's not vital to this hearing. I don't understand why this judge is treating the player this way. Here we go.
So I do believe that the circumstances under which, or the alleged allegations under which the court issued this ex parte, are no longer a concern, at least not as far as irreparable harm. So the court will rescind the ex parte order, and that current parenting time order is back in place. And I will indicate that they should follow their regular schedule, which would be commencing next weekend. And in the meantime, though, I will refer this to the front of the court regarding parenting time, because I really want a deeper dive into what's going on.
Okay, cool. Judge is being very fair, it seems. Judge is saying, okay, so we do need to go back to the parental agreement. You guys need to abide by the parental agreement. All right, cool. I'm going to keep everything that's in place in place. All right, cool. I'm not going to say that any of the findings that were mentioned are still at play here because they were not founded. Okay, cool. Let's see what happens next.
I'm going to include it in an order because that can impact insurance at this time, in which case both parties will end up having to pay out of pocket. This child needs counseling. It doesn't matter why she's in the situation she's in or what caused her to be in the situation she's in. She needs to have a safe person that she can talk to.
Okay, boom. That's where it is right there. That's what kind of frustrates me. I understand family court is about the children. And shout out to Judge McNabb. She obviously cares about this child. But to hear her say this child needs a safe person to talk to, that's where I don't understand. We don't know if the child was coached when she talked to CPS. We don't know under Michigan state law or whatever the parental agreement is if both parties have to come together and agree for the child to have medical visits. I know my parental agreement says we're supposed to agree on all medical visits. That's mental and physical. My ex-wife takes our daughter to all kinds of doctor visits, doesn't tell me anything. I go to court all the time and I'm like, yo, judge, she's not practicing co-parenting. She doesn't even tell me about doctor's visits. And I just get well, you know. And this is going back to that. Who said it was okay for mom to get the child interviewed by CPS or the police? This has happened to me. My child's being interviewed at school. CPS is being called to school to interview my child because my ex-wife thinks that she experienced something that she shouldn't have. And it always comes back, the CPS is like, yeah, the child obviously loves the father and the father's wife and her little brother, and she's very healthy and there seems to be nothing wrong. And the mom, my ex-wife, she'd be fuming, like, I can't believe it. Because I know she tries to coach our kid. I don't say things like this to our child, but I know it. I know it's happening. And I think it's happening to a lot of other fathers. And I just wish the judge saw that. But let's keep it going.
And so I had a conversation with the council and chambers, and they're going to work very hard to try to make that happen within 7 days, but we are not including it in an order for that reason. Yes, Mr. Haslam.
Question, Your Honor. Is the court reserving on these 18 days of make-up parenting time?
Yes. I think at this point we need to get some more information into really how she's doing and what's going on before we.
Okay, we're stopping it right there. Ending this thing off, I guess the judge said, let's end this thing off with a bang. The 18 makeup days that dad is trying to get because mom kept the child because of this CPS letter that they got that they should keep the child, that we like, it's not founded. The judge is saying, I'm going to go ahead and reserve that for right now, and we'll get back on that a little later. We need to first have an investigation. And by investigation, I mean we need the child to do therapy. And then once the therapy happens, we'll decide if dad gets his 18 days back. Christmas 2024, I'm at the police station waiting for my daughter. My ex-wife emails me 15 minutes before pickup. Oh, just by the way, wanted to let you know. No, I was an hour before pickup. But either way, I still went to the police station. And she's like, oh, just to let you know, because you were in Jamaica for an extended amount of time, I'm going to go ahead and keep our daughter for Christmas. You won't be seeing her today. You can get her tonight at 9 p.m. Guys, her bedtime's 8. You can get her tonight at 9 p.m. or tomorrow. Of course I said, just let me get her tomorrow. Don't wake her up. She took Christmas from me this year just because she felt like it. I wrote letters to the judge. Our judge has transitioned to another branch. We're getting a new judge. Now we have to sit and wait and hope that we get the hearing that I've been requesting. It's hard out here for dads in family court, guys. It's difficult. And I know it's also difficult for judges, but I just wish that it wasn't so hard for dads. I really do. So God bless this guy. He's doing his best. Again, this is in no way whatsoever is disrespectful to cops. There are amazing men and women who are police officers all around the country. It just so happens that the ex has a new boyfriend who is a cop, and it just so happens that may or may not, this is all allegedly, have influenced their ability to get that letter from CPS. We don't know. But these are things like, I know the judge is taking it into consideration. I just wish she took it into the consideration that we are wishing she took it in. But I know I don't want to end this episode with you guys feeling all gloomy and down and out. So I'm going to drop a banger on it. Fathers win.
Stomping around the suburban boots, sliding the pterodactyl inside a red tire, sliding some red sandals.
Keep fighting the good fight in family court. Your kids need you. Your kids love you. And you dads are doing an amazing job. And shout out to all the moms who watch this content. We love you. All the good women out there. We appreciate you. And this is not a channel where we're here to bash women. We are just tired of dads having such an unfair, hard time in family court. I'm not even saying that this judge is a bad judge. I'm just saying I wish she saw what we saw. All right, guys. God bless you. I'm about to drop this banger right now. Leave a comment in the description. See you guys on the next one. Peace. One more time. Yeah. Fathers
Stomping
win.
around in
Fathers
some
win.
Burberry boots,
Fathers
sliding
win.
the pterodactyl
We
inside a
gon' win.
reptile,
We gon'
sliding
win.
some red
Fathers
sandals.
win. Fathers win. One more time.
Stomping around in some Burberry boots, sliding the pterodactyl
No.
inside a reptile, sliding some red sandals.
Yeah.
Fathers win, we're in our prime. Like she